Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today I wanted to talk about this thing called the brain and thinking. All right, and on the plane to and from Vegas, I read this short little book. It's called Don't Believe Everything You Think by Joseph Ngayan. All right, there it is. So don't believe everything you think. And the book gets you thinking, which is kind of funny. General concept. Negative emotions aren't created by circumstances. Negative emotions are created by our thinking about circumstances. And so, if you are swarmed with a whole bunch of negative emotions, take a pause and just observe your own thinking. Am I thinking about the situation? Am I analyzing it? Am I trying to pick it apart? Am I trying to figure things out? Am I trying to fix things with my thinking? Inevitably, our thoughts create our emotions. Situations don't. Now, I'm not the only one to say this. This guy's not the only one to say it. You know, you have a negative thought, you're going to have a negative emotion. You have a positive thought, you're going to have a positive emotion. Dr. Joe Dispenza speaks about this a lot. But it's just really, I want to highlight thinking and highlight its role in your experience, right? And I am not diminishing whatsoever. You know me. I'm not going to diminish the significance of your pain or other symptoms. What I want to diminish is how much time you spend thinking, worrying, catastrophizing. Easy for me to say. I want to help you minimize the amount of time you spend thinking about your problems. One thing I've believed for a long time, whatever you focus on grows and gets bigger. So if you're focusing on and thinking on your problems, guess what's going to happen to those problems? They're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I've often said in my coaching that what would happen if you decided that this is not a problem? For example, anxiety. Anxiety is a state of being pretty much coupled with adrenaline, cortisol, stress hormones, and anxious thinking. So a lot of people struggle to get rid of this anxiety, and they fight anxiety, and they're giving themselves anxiety attacks to get rid of anxiety because they can't get rid of it. What if you decided anxiety is not a problem I need to solve? It's just a state of being, and I don't need to engage in it. What would happen if you stopped thinking that anxiety was a problem and stopped thinking about anxiety and thinking about anxiety and thinking about anxiety and worrying about it and trying to run away from it and try? You see where I'm going with this? You can spin on anxiety because you've decided up front that it's a huge problem. Well, what if you said, okay, I'm feeling this thing that is labeled anxiety. If you don't entertain in the thinking about anxiety, things can settle down pretty quickly. So, for example, you get up, you're feeling anxious. Oh, instead of fighting with it all day, say, all right, today I'm experiencing this thing called anxiety. All right, I'm going to get up and start my day anyway. I'm not going to ruminate on it, not going to fear it, not going to run from it, fix it, right? Because a lot of people jump right to the internet. And how do I get rid of morning anxiety? Before you know it, they've spent 4 hours digging into the internet with all sorts of people telling you, here's how you get rid of morning anxiety. My take is anxiety, that sensation of the stress hormones in the body, won't bother you if you don't think of it as a problem and don't engage in the thinking of fixing. So, if we're suffering, it's likely because of our thinking. If we have negative emotions, it's because of our thinking, right? Let's talk about perception, because that's a big word of mine. Perceived danger, pain, right? The brain has perceptions that we're in danger in some way, emotionally, physically, mentally, stress-wise, life stress, financial, relationship, you name it, work, all sorts of stuff. Body positions, body movements, my body's broken, right? These are all perceived dangers. And we spend an awful lot of time thinking about it, don't we? We go and we try to figure out, well, what's the danger? How do I know what the brain is afraid of so I can go fix it? And we loop on trying to figure this stuff out. same thing as I just talked about with anxiety. What if you decided that the presence of pain is not a huge problem that you have to fix? It's just a re-education of a scared brain to say, hey, your perception is wrong. Now, they always say perception is reality, right? Is there such a thing as reality, or your reality because of how you're perceiving it? We could debate on that topic for a long time. That's a very theoretical discussion. But twins, born in the same home, genetically identical, have two different realities because they both perceive the world differently, even though they're about as close as can be. They're raised the same, they're, same genetics, two different perspectives, two different personalities, two different realities, if you will. So reality is a construct of our own perception of what's going on. What if you changed your reality of this chronic pain, chronic ailment, by deciding, now that I understand it, Foundation 1, and I've done the assessments, Foundation 2, and I recognize that this is what applies to me, I don't have to perceive these symptoms as this horrible, horrible, devastating problem. I don't have to think about them at all because I know what's going on. I know they're not a problem. By definition, it means I'm actually okay. So why do I need to think about it? What am I trying to fix? You're already okay. I use this analogy a lot, but how much time would you spend in your garage rebuilding the engine on a car that's brand new and works perfectly? You wouldn't. So how much time are you going to spend fixing your brain and your body for something that's just based on bad data? Correct the data. Know that you're okay. And then you don't have to give it a second thought. I know it sounds like I'm saying don't do anything. No, we are reframing our perspective, our perception of what it means to have chronic symptoms from the brain perceiving danger. What we're saying is, I don't have to worry about that. All I got to do is teach consistently and confidently the fact that I'm already okay. And if you've done the foundational work, what causes it? Does it apply to me? Is there a cure? Yes, you're listening to it. And can I do it? Yes, you can. Other humans have done it. You're a human. You can do it too. So, super important, folks. If you want to dig deep into this whole concept of, thinking and non-thinking, and, life gets really peaceful when you don't take your own thinking so seriously, right? Because if you can have a really negative thought, you can go, just a negative thought. I'm not my thoughts. They don't define me, right? And the less we believe the negative thoughts, the less negative thoughts we actually have. So what would happen if you defined thinking as a non-problem? Because a lot of people think they got a thinking problem that they're going to fix with more thinking about their thinking problem, because they need to fix their thinking problem with more thinking about thinking. Right? See how crazy it can get looping on that? So what would happen if you looked at your problems and said, are they really problems? Or do I just think they are? I used to say a lot, and I'll say it now. You're not broken. You just think you are. And when you think you are, that's your perception. They say perception is reality. So if you perceive to be broken, your brain's going to act as if that's true. What happens if you decide you're not broken? That you can accept the fact that this is just perceived, falsely, mistakenly perceived danger, and that you're really okay. And you make that your dominant thought that, wow, I'm really okay. I hope this makes sense. I know I'm talking in circles here. It's a little theoretical. But if you're feeling negative emotions, you're probably thinking negative stuff. Get present. Find the moment. Yeah, Tractor Boy's making some noise in the backyard. But it's only a problem if I think it is. I just point it out because it's funny. And you folks tend to like when I talk about Tractor Boy. But there's some beautiful birds out here singing a song. Probably going to get a big rainstorm in the next hour or two. So if you're feeling really negative, observe your thinking. If you're having negative thoughts, you can choose not to believe them, right? Don't believe everything you think. Joseph Ingayan. It's a quick, short read. might be worth looking at. Might shift your perspective a little bit. But hopefully this was helpful. And as always, folks, I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.